at Senegal's capital, Dakar. For more analysis on this, let's bring in Delina Goxho, who's a specialist in security in the Sahel region and joins us from neighbouring Niger. Delina, thanks for being on this news hour. What are the security implications of France's withdrawal of troops in Mali?
Thank you for having me, Emily. Certainly in the short term, I think what we foresee is a vacuum in terms of security, especially in the tri-border area. So in that area where most armed groups are located, the fact that Barkhane will not be providing, at least for a while, because we don't know exactly what is going to happen in terms of air force, but the fact that Barkhane is retreating is going to be a problem for those troops, both Malian and Nigerian in particular, that are fighting in the tri-border area. So this will have immediate consequences, I believe.
Delina, as we mentioned, some have described the French mission as a failure. What do you think has been achieved since 2013 when French troops first deployed to Mali?
The first deployment in 2013 was particularly positive, I would say. Hollande, who was a French president at the time, was hailed victoriously in Bamako when he arrived, and there was a genuine request on the part of the Malian state to have the French state involved. That operation, which was called Opération Serval, was a consequential operation. So the French were gaining territory increasingly, step after step. They were communicating it particularly well, and that operation, which was concluded after 1 year, was particularly successful. Since then, there have been a number of successes regarding Barkhane in terms of decapitation, which is a form of military action that eliminates the head of a terrorist organization or an armed group. They were able to eliminate a number of leaders, but they weren't able to stem insecurity as much as I believe they would have wanted. So one of the things that Macron keeps repeating is that what they wish to do, what Barkhane is supposed to do, is slow down violence. I believe in that sense, to some extent, they were successful. This is a very counterfactual analysis. It's hard to tell what would have happened in Barkhane's absence.
Delina, it seems to be quite a polarising issue, and some would say that France is abandoning Malians. Or do you agree with some critics who say Paris has been infringing on Mali's sovereignty?
From a legal point of view, Barkhane and France haven't been infringing on Malian sovereignty. It was a request on the Malian state. There is a legal agreement. In terms of whether this whole intervention was positive, again, is extremely hard for us to tell. It's difficult to also imagine whether some of these armed groups, Al-Qaeda affiliated, Islamic State affiliated, would have had this basis for support and recruitment had it not been for a French presence that is perceived by a part of the Malian society as neo-colonial. So one thing that we could imagine once Barkhane will leave Mali is that there will be less of a pool for recruitment for some of these armed groups. And this is possibly one of the positive consequences. Another thing that we could imagine in the future is that there would be more of a push on the part of the Malian transition government and the Malian junta to negotiate with some of these armed groups. This has been ongoing for a number of years now, but there will be a stronger push for this, given that there will be less military support on the part of the French.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Delina, what impact will this have on the return to civilian rule, given it's been almost a year since the junta took power in that coup back in May?
Yeah, I think this is particularly hard to foresee. The fact that now the military junta is holding assises nationales, so these are national consultations that also occur at the local level, is a very positive sign. I don't know how, and it's really, really hard to tell, I believe, how long this will take, how long this transition government will last, how long will it take it to organize elections that are free and fair.
Well, we appreciate your insight as always. Delina Goxho, a specialist in security in the Sahel region. Thanks for being on this news hour.
Thank you, Emily.